My name is Stephanie Matthews, and I am the research assistant to Dr. Delbert Baker, Director of Research and Development for the Regional Conference Retirement Plan. Today, our topic of discussion is how to start a seniors ministry, either in your church or in the community. Now, before we really delve into the specifics, you may ask yourself, do we really need another ministry? Most churches already have a children's ministry, a youth ministry, young adult ministry, family ministry, women and men's ministry, and the list could go on and on. But what do all of these ministries have in common? What they have in common is that they service or they tend to the needs of all these individuals that are in the church or in the community. Now, who is making up the church? Seniors do. Let me share some statistics with you. The fastest growing age group in the U.S. is the population over the age of 65. With a notable growth within the over 85-year-olds due to increased life expectancy and the aging baby boom generation. According to the Pew Research Center, there are more people aged 50 to 64 than the 18 to 49-year-olds who attend religious services on a weekly basis. And some reports even estimate that 70% of the average church budget comes from those 50 and over. So again, who's in the church? Seniors. We are. And why do we need a ministry? To tend to the needs of the seniors that are in the house of God. And so then what are those needs? How do we tend to those needs? Well, some of the needs are spiritual support, guidance, encouragement, growth in their faith. This is what seniors are looking for. And seniors need community building and social engagement. They need a sense of belonging, which would decrease loneliness. And social engagement, it keeps them engaged and active. We also need to utilize their wisdom and experience, which would help in the mentoring of the younger generation and their contributions to the church leadership. We need to create health and wellness programs for seniors, which would promote physical, mental, and emotional health through activities and programs. Service opportunities. Engage seniors in meaningful service and volunteer opportunities using their experience. Intergenerational connections. Now, this is the big one because it fosters relationships between the young and old, and it encourages mutual support, unity, and understanding. Now, I'm going to pause here because I want to share a brief story. A couple of months ago, my husband and I had one of our seniors over to our home for Sabbath dinner. And she's about the same age as my mom in her 70s. And my daughter and her boyfriend were also present, and they're in their 20s. Well, this sister, and I'll call her Sister X. Sister X asked my daughter how she met her boyfriend. And my daughter hesitated a bit because she didn't want to tell her that she had actually met her boyfriend on a dating app, because she knew that Sister X may not approve. This was not the way dating was done back in the day and what have you. But to our surprise, Sister X nodded her approval and said, "Hey, that's how I introduced my son to his wife. I actually filled out the profile on the dating app, and it was a match." Well, we were surprised. But my point is, You have a 70-year-old senior connecting with a 20-year-old millennial, and they're coming into an agreement and agreeing that a dating app is a good tool for meeting new people. And by the way, Sister X's son has been happily married to his wife, and they are the proud parents of 4 children. So we've gone over the needs of what seniors, what a senior ministry could address as far as their senior needs and interests. And it all sounds doable, right? But what if there are stumbling blocks and walls that we actually create that would prevent a senior ministry from getting off the ground and even thriving? And some of these stereotypes and negative attitudes that we have, we say sometimes seniors are no longer interested in working in ministry because they are retired or just plain old tired. Seniors have had a good race, and God expects seniors just to take it easy now, just to kind of chill out. Seniors are stuck in their ways, and if they haven't accepted Christ by now, it probably won't happen. I know you've heard this one. A church comprised mostly of seniors is a church that is dying or on the decline. Now, these are assumptions that are seldom true because seniors are motivated by the same factors as the younger generation. They want to be engaged in meaningful ministry. Now, they may not want to have the full responsibility of a children's ministry, which would require a lot of energy. But it doesn't mean that they just want to sit back and not do anything. They want to be in service. Another misconception, that seniors are stubborn and not open to accepting Christ in their latter years. I would agree that most seniors, they know what they want and they say what they mean. But it doesn't mean that in their golden years, that if given the opportunity to be witnessed to, that they would not come to Jesus. They wouldn't, if they have the opportunity to know Christ, and they would accept him as their personal Savior. Charles Arnn, who leads an organization called Church Growth Incorporated, also believes that older people would be more open to change due to their life experience, such as retirement, loss of a spouse, or even empty nesting. Like you, I have heard it said many times that a church full of senior citizens is a church that's on the decline. Richard Gensler Jr., author of The Graying of the Church, states in his book, "A church engaged in ministry and is full of older adults doesn't mean that it is dead or dying, but there needs to be a refocusing or a rethinking for ministry and who can be made a disciple of Christ." And does God really expect for seniors to sit back once they have retired? Here's a selection of Bible texts and quotations from Ellen G. White that not only dispels this myth, but it supports the establishment of a Christian ministry, a Christian senior ministry. Titus 2:2-5 says, "Teach older men and women to be examples of faith and virtue." Psalm 71:9, "Do not cast away the elderly." Psalms 92:14, "They still bear fruit in old age. They are ever full of sap and green." Psalm 71:18. So even to old age and gray hairs, O God, do not forsake me until I proclaim your might to another generation, your power to all those to come. Ellen G. White says in her writings, let the older ones associate with the younger. Influence of godly grandparents is a blessing. The greatest wealth of the church is her godly elders. The voice of experience is not heard as it should be. Respect and learn from those with long experience in faith. So now that we have the biblical mandate from God on how we should treat our seniors, what should be the first things that we do in setting up a ministry? First, we need to pray. Seek God for wisdom and ask Him to lead out in starting this ministry. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. And that's taken from Psalms 127, verse 1. Determine the needs and interests of your seniors. Keeping in mind, needs and interests will vary among seniors. A 50-year-old senior will have different needs than a 70-year-old senior. Involve your pastor and those who have a heart for senior ministry to either lead out or collaborate with the seniors who are leading out. Decide on the format of the ministry. Will it be led by one person or by a majority of the group? And how often will you meet? Base your activities and events around the needs of your senior ministry membership. Plan and advertise your events and activities via the church bulletin, your church website, or social media. But be mindful that when you're getting the word out to seniors, just what type of social media they may be looking at. Now, most seniors that I know are pretty active on Facebook, but probably not so much on Instagram. Foster intergenerational connection. There's that theme again. Develop a name, a mission, and a vision statement. What do you want to see God accomplish in and through your ministry? Now, when I was doing my research on senior ministries, I looked at regional conferences to see what was going on in different sections of the country. And I came across two that bears mentioning. And one was from the Allegheny East Conference and the other from South Central. So the one in Allegheny East, Victoria Falls Adventist Community. Now, this senior ministry is focused in a secular multi-family housing unit. For membership, they collect dues, and they meet once a quarter with a potluck meal for fellowship. For outreach, they distribute Steps to Christ to community residents, and their format is a little bit formal. They have a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And some of their outings and events includes an annual banquet. They recently took a trip to a slave museum, and they call members who are sick or alone, and they have health speakers to come in to speak to the community. The other one, based in the South Central Conference, they're called the Extra Years of Zeal, or they're better known as XYZ. And this ministry was mainly started by a senior several years ago. Her name was Doris Beaulieu, and she was actually getting rebaptized. And after her rebaptism, she wanted to do something that would please God. And so she noticed that a lot of the older people in the church weren't doing much. So she spoke to the pastor, and he gave his stamp of approval, and a ministry was born. And the main objective of this ministry was to bring people closer to the Lord in love. Now, in the beginning, there was no minimum age to join. The prerequisite was just that you had to be mature. Now, currently, under new leadership, the age requirement is 50 and above. They meet once a month, and in between these once-a-month meetings, they may go to the park, attend city events, and have luncheons together. And their structure is a little less formal because it consists of a ministry leader, but pretty much the members in the group. So, for instance, whoever brings up an idea, that's who's going to lead the team. Also, they collaborate with other ministries on fellowship and social activities. For example, on back-to-school events, they may buy the book bags, adopt a senior for Christmas. They'll go out and shop for other seniors in the community, and they'll also help with voter registration. They act as reserve deaconesses at funerals, and they have a very active prayer ministry for its members. One of the leaders mentioned that the reason why the XYZ is so important to her is because it provides a space where senior adults can have candid and open conversations on matters that are specific to them. Within this group, you even have several members who have joined the drum line in Huntsville, and they're known as the Grand Masters because the Grand Masters consist of seasoned drummers. One of the reasons why these two ministries are successful is that they address the needs of seniors as mentioned in the earlier slide. They provide spiritual support. They create a sense of community. They promote health and wellness activities. And they provide service opportunities and social engagement. I'd like to close by summarizing what senior ministry is. Senior ministry enriches church community. It upholds biblical principles and Ellen G. White's teachings. It encourages honoring and ministering to seniors by addressing their needs and interests, and it builds up the body of Christ. I pray that the content shared in this presentation has been both informative and beneficial in helping you starting a senior ministry where you live.